So we're doing our listener question on this bonus episode, and we've got a listener question from Liz. She's, I think, Instagrammed in from memory. And this is what she said. I find this podcast very informative. Thank you very much, Liz. That's the aim.
Thank you, Liz. Check.
Check, check. I'd like to know culpability of employers if employees do bring their concerns to the employer. An example is the VTA workplace in San Jose, California on the 26th of May, 2021. An aside, I went to grade school with a shooter, and all I can tell you is that he was very quiet. So, a few bits in there to pull out. Interesting that she went to school with a school shooter as well. But do you know anything about this case that she's talking about, the VTA workplace in San Jose, California?
I don't have the facts of the VTA shooting in my head and in my hand, so I can't address that specifically, but I do recall, it was a workplace shooting situation, right? When a shooting occurs, this is one of the things that I try to stress. I have a chapter in my book about businesses, and a lot of times everything in business is you're either in the you make us money or you cost us money. And so employees, you cost us money, but salespeople make us money. So there's things that are considered cost centers versus profit centers. And the cost centers, security is always considered a cost center. It doesn't make us any money. And I think that one of the things that I try to address when I talk to my corporate clients, and I addressed in the book, and that I would urge anybody out there in the business world to appreciate and understand, is that in the long run, security is a high cost when you don't do it right. It doesn't mean you do it expensive, but it's a high cost. So for instance, when one of the most egregious shootings that we had here, the Live Nation shooting in Las Vegas occurred, the hotel involved, who was the owner, actually physically owned the ground where the shooting occurred, the MGM Mandalay Bay shooting. They paid $800 million, which was $49 million over their insurance coverage. They paid an $800 million settlement to people involved in that shooting. And that was just one of the lawsuits, one of the many, many lawsuits that were settled. And so when a shooting occurs at a place of business, it's incredibly expensive for that place of business for a few different reasons. Chief amongst them is they lose employees. So then they have to hire and retrain employees. Then, of course, the bad publicity. And I'm not saying that those are more important than also the potential death of employees or injuries of employees. So there are all these bad things that happen that cost the company financially, reputation-wise, and things like that. So a lot of times I will hear companies say, security doesn't make us any money. And I think, yeah, but it'll cost you a lot of money. So that's one thing that I think companies, they're coming around the idea of you want to have insurance policies to cover your products, and you want to have locks on your doors. You want to discourage people from coming in. But the question that Liz asked was, what kind of responsibility do corporations have?
Her specific question was, what responsibility employers have if an employee has already warned the employer? There's a different layer there as well.
It is, they have responsibility, Liz, from the beginning, even if they're not warned. So when you talk about a situation where a random person comes in off the street that no one's ever seen before and shoots up a building and kills some employees inside, all of those, even if they had no warning, there are going to be lawsuits, and there are going to be things that are filed against the company, and the company is going to pay out even without any information, because under the law, under federal laws that we have here, OSHA laws, we call them occupational safety, health safety, and I'm confident that this is not uncommon around the world. Under federal law here in the States and every place else, I'm confident of this, she says as a lawyer, employers have a responsibility to take care of the health and safety of their employees, just generally, right? That's why machinery has guards on it now, so that you can't put your hand in it and have it all chopped off. There are these requirements that have been passed through, especially since the industrial age, saying, look, an employee has an obligation to protect the safety of its employees. So when you talk about, from a lawyer standpoint, any potential danger to an employee that is reasonably foreseeable, okay, maybe 50 years ago, we wouldn't have said in the legal world that a mass shooting or any type of shooting, mass killings, was reasonably foreseeable, but it is now. It is now.
That's tragic, but true.
Yes, and there have been decisions legally in federal resources and analysis that say it's reasonably foreseeable that this is a potential danger to employees. Because of that, employers need to teach their employees, how to run, hide, fight. They need to make sure that they provide reasonable safeguards from a security standpoint, locks on doors and things like that. And this gets to Liz's question, that they also ensure that they don't have a danger from within.